It's seed starting season, and today I want to share some tips for using upcycled containers for starting your seeds. Hi, I'm Allison from The Well Cultivated Life, where I share all kinds of gardening and herbal lifestyle tips that can help save you money. Today I'm in my apothecary and seed storage area and garden storage area, also known as the basement, and I'm getting ready to start some seeds, so I thought I'd make a video and show you a lot of different options that you can choose from in order to start seeds without having to run out and buy a whole bunch of brand new equipment. Now, why does it matter whether I buy something new or not? Well, it turns out that here in the US, each person generates about 5 pounds of waste, aka garbage, per day, and less than 2 pounds of that is ever recycled or composted. So I figure the best thing that we can do is not to bring more potential garbage into our homes, and instead to use the items that we already have for our seed starting. Once you start thinking about using upcycled containers, you start to see possibilities just about everywhere around. So let's get started with the first one, which is, of course, reusing pots from plants that you purchased last year or the year before. If you're a plant lover like me, you cannot resist purchasing some new plants every year. And that means that you're going to end up with some pots like this left over at the end of each year. Now, I have an area in my shed where I store all of my planting materials, and I rarely have to buy anything new each year. You've got square pots, and you've got round pots, and you've even got some of these big, huge type. The thing is that a lot of these plastic pots are made from some pretty flimsy, cheap plastic, and they don't always stand up for a second season. However, they're usually not recyclable either, although this big one here is a number 2. So maybe take a look at your pots. If they're recyclable, put them in the bin. If they're not, save them and try to get at least a second year's use out of it. Anytime we can use something twice instead of just once, going from a single-use plastic to a double-use plastic, think about it. We're cutting our plastic use in half, and that is definitely a good thing for the environment. Now, you can also buy biodegradable pots, pulp pots, or little jiffy starters and so on that will break down in your garden. But again, that's just another expense when we know what we really want to spend money on is our seeds, right? Now, try as we might, it is impossible not to come home from the grocery store without a bunch of things in plastic. So this time of year, I get a little more intentional about choosing which brands or which types of things to buy, because I'm looking at it from the perspective of, gee, can I use that to start some seeds or plants in? So a couple of ideas include these containers that came with, I think it had ground turkey. This one here had ham in it. This had some kind of vegetable mix or something in it. And while some of these are recyclable, I'm going to save them now, and I can recycle them when the growing season is done. But my very favorite of all is the mushroom boxes. Normally I would buy mushrooms in bulk and bring those home that way, but this time of year I'm purchasing all my mushrooms in these kind of boxes, and I haven't had to buy any kind of seed starting containers for a while because of those. Of course, there's also the round containers such as yogurt containers. This had pineapple, sour cream containers. You get the idea, because I'm sure you have plenty of those in your home as well. This year I am starting a lot of perennial herbs, and those need a little bit more pampering to get the seeds to actually germinate. And one of the ways to do that is to place them outside early spring, but not just put them in the ground, to plant them in containers. And so for that, I have some of these salad mix containers that have a lid on them, and that means they're going to be acting kind of like a little mini greenhouse to help get my seeds started. Next on the list is takeout containers. Now, while some restaurants are eco-friendly and they're using more biodegradable containers, a lot of them still are not. For example, this one from a local Chinese restaurant, but it's the perfect size for starting some seeds. These type of takeout containers are coated on the inside, so they're going to hold water a little bit better, but I wouldn't recommend these for starting anything that is going to require a long time to sprout, because they will break down relatively quickly. Then there's the old classic egg cartons. A lot of people will use the paper fiber egg cartons to start their seeds, but most egg cartons don't have the capacity to hold very much soil. So depending on what you're starting, if you're starting some little lettuces that are gonna go out quickly, then those could work. If you're starting tomatoes, which are gonna grow fast and need a lot of root space to grow, then I don't recommend using an egg carton for that. The next thing is good old toilet paper rolls. They're good for all kinds of things, aren't they? To use the toilet paper roll, you simply put 4 creases, fold it in half, and then fold it in half the other way. Cut the bottom up about 3/4 of an inch, and then just fold the bottom in. You can dip it in some water to kind of seal it together, and then you've got an individual pot. And this is great for something that you don't want to have to transplant it. There are certain types of plants, such as sunflowers, that I like to start inside, but they do not like to be transplanted. They've got vigorous root systems, they intertwine with each other really quickly, and so using a toilet paper roll for starting your sunflower seeds or anything like that is nice, because you can put 1 seed per container. And let's face it, we all have plenty of these around the house, don't we? One other option is plastic drink cups. Now, I don't recommend going out and buying these, because they actually are usually made from polystyrene, which is non-recyclable. You can use a compostable type of drink cup, but if this has already been used to drink out of, why not upcycle it for starting your seeds? Now, a lot of eco-friendly people will decide to use clay or ceramic pots instead of plastic. And while I love the look of them and I love the idea of a ceramics, there's a couple things to bear in mind with ceramic pots. First of all, they dry out a lot faster than most other types of pots. And so you really have to be diligent about watching the water on your plants. The second thing is that they're kind of expensive. However, in the fall or in the early spring, people are getting rid of stuff at your local thrift shop, or if you live in a town that has a dump, a lot of times there's a swap shop there, and you can always find things there that you can use for starting your seeds. And lastly, we have newspaper pots. Now, you can buy a fancy paper pot making apparatus if you want, but there are super easy ways to make paper pots simply by just rolling it around a glass wine bottle or some other type of straight-sided bottle, folding in the bottom, and you're good to go. The beautiful thing about newspaper pots, of course, is that they will break down out in the garden and you don't have to worry about having any kind of plastic. Now, if you're really committed to biodegradable pots, I want to share this super fun idea with you. This is a piece of bark off some firewood, and I have started seeds simply by filling the top of this with some soil. Again, it's not going to be seeds that need really deep roots. Can you just see this with a few little lettuce seeds sprouting up from it? Something else that doesn't require a deep root. Some other types of greens, perhaps, getting those started in a piece of firewood bark. If you burn wood, think about grabbing some firewood bark. You know you got a bunch out in your firewood storage area, and use that for a quick and fun seed starting idea. It's especially fun to start seeds with kids using these types of alternative containers. So I hope this was a helpful video for you, giving you some ideas on how you can save money, reduce your waste, and start your seeds this spring. If you got value, make sure to like and subscribe for more herbal and gardening tips. Take care, everybody.